Miss Davis.
What's up?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you here. So, you have had an amazing story, and it's amazing how we've come across each other. But I always like to start with letting the people at home know a little bit about you and where you're from. Where are you from originally?
Well, I grew up in Colorado. I was originally born in Texas, and then I was adopted. After that, my family, if they adopted me, we moved to Colorado, and that's where they raised me. So I came out to Los Angeles in 2010, and have been here ever since.
2010. So that means that you've been here for 16 years.
This is home now.
This is home now.
For
This is your life. And so I'm always interested in the trajectory of an artist. Being that you're a dancer, you went from being a baby in Colorado to a dancer in Los Angeles. So what was that trajectory like? When did you start dancing and
Mhm.
what was that journey like?
Yeah, I mean, I started dancing. Really, I started dancing. When I saw
The womb.
no,
No.
no, for real, for real. But when I saw Miss Congeniality, and at the end of it, when they do that dance to like One in a Million, like I was so obsessed with that like in like second grade, I was like dancing.
Sandra Bullock.
Yes. So I really wanted to dance really after that. I was just always moving. But in third grade, like I saw some boys do a tap dance in the talent show for my school, and after that, like I just wanted to do it. So my parents put me into dance class. And after like my first recital, my mom always tells me that like I ran off the stage, and I was like, I want to do this the rest of my life, and just yeah, just really developed a love there. So did it throughout high school and middle school, and then got into the college that I went to, AMDA College and Conservatory of the Arts in Los Angeles. Went for musical theater at first, but was always wanting to
Oh,
dance.
we're both AMDA ones.
Exactly.
Shout out to AMDA.
Yes, AMDA, we're everywhere. So yeah, I went there and switched to the dance program about halfway through my schooling because I wanted to focus more, and that's just where like my love for different dance styles and disciplines kind of really grew there. And then after graduating, started dancing with Professional Modern Company, the Lula Washington Dance Theater, and I am one of the dancers there. I'm also one of the faculty that teaches at the dance school that they have, and just yeah, just things just kind of grew from there.
Yeah, but how did you end up in LA? Because you
Yeah, so LA, when I was actually looking at colleges, because I don't know why I was obsessed with college when I was in middle school, but
it was hard to get obsessed with
it kind of was because that's where when I found AMDA, and I saw that they had a program in New York, and they didn't have one in Los Angeles yet. But I was like, well, if they get one, and they didn't have a 4 year program. I was like, if they get one, then that's what I'll do. So then when I was in high school, they started the BFA program there, and I just knew that that was the place I wanted to go. I didn't apply to any other schools. I told my parents I did, but I actually didn't. I just applied there. That was the one place I went. So,
say something.
yeah.
AMDA is the only school I applied to.
Okay.
And I auditioned for the studio program with a Medea monologue.
Okay.
And I was like, if I don't get in here, I'm not going anywhere because I knew I didn't want to do academics.
Yes, and it was just you couldn't tell me nothing else. I was like, this is where I'm gonna go. Like I was like, there's no point in me going like applying anywhere else.
Straight conservatory.
It was exactly what I went. But then I went for the agreement was that I would do a BFA program. So I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna do the arts, I'll get a BFA. So that was kind
So
of
you have a BFA.
yes, yes.
That's crazy because I'm going back for my BFA at AMDA.
Okay, amazing.
As a working producer, I'm like, I guess I'll get my BFA.
That's
And
great. Yeah.
heard.
Absolutely not. Look, I always tell people if you can go back to school, it's cool.
It's okay. Be a forever student.
I love it. I love it. But yeah.
And so you were here. I was at the New York campus. And so, what is one of the things about dance that gives you that spark inside? Like being starting out as a tap dancer, who were some of your influences and what about dance gives you that spark inside?
Well, they really loved when at first because tap was kind of my way in because I wasn't really in a place where I was ready to do like ballet and stuff. But like I would see movies like Center Stage, and like I would want to do things like it just yes, all of that. It would inspire me so much. But for me, it wasn't. I didn't have a whole lot of access to stuff like that. Not just because I was like the only boy, around.
You were in
I was
Colorado.
in Colorado in a small town, Estes Park. That's where The Shining takes place. Yeah, yeah. So like love a beautiful, beautiful town, awesome childhood. But yeah, so when I first started really getting into dance, it was like percussive style. So like watching like Michael Flatley or like River Dance and seeing how they could tell stories with it was Irish step dance was what I was seeing the most. But like seeing that, like seeing how they could tell stories and how it was just so much fun and just for me, I had to be a very active child, so that was kind of what interested me at first. And then as I started to want to do more things like ballet and modern and looking at the different dance companies that there were like around the world in the country, I just really loved like it just the want to be able to like tell a story and share different things like through art and through dance just really spoke to me because I'm somebody that's learned to be very good with their words, but it's not always been something that's come super easy to me. But like with dance and with art, I just feel like it gets to a place to where you know so many people can relate to something and you can see something and it can speak to people of different experiences, and that just that's just kind of what's always led me back to it.
And now, being someone who dances in several different disciplines and also choreographs, how do you get in touch with telling a story through dance? Because I've seen your work
Yeah,
at Little Washington.
mm-hmm.
It's incredible how you guys put together these dances. They're like moving artwork on stage. They are poetic. They are plays on stage, and every single piece told a story,
Mm-hmm.
which I've never, and I've grown up in the arts.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how do you tell a story through dance? How do you approach that as a choreographer?
For me, I mean, that was something I didn't always know at first. I mean, and the first time that like I choreographed something was like when I was in college, and of course it was after like a breakup. So it was something that I was like,
That's
I was like,
emotional.
yeah, it was very emotional. It was something I just wanted to get out of me, and it was, I got some recognition from my teachers. I like they selected my piece that got to be showcased in something, so that was cool. But then years later I got asked to commission a piece for National HIV Testing Day with Reach LA there in ASO in downtown Los Angeles. And that one, I wasn't, at first, I wasn't kind of sure how I was going to do it because I hadn't really choreographed a lot. But the other dancer that I was working with, there was just this one day where I was like, okay, like I was frustrated about just a lot of stuff. And it's just like my frustration. I didn't really have any way to express it. So I knew that I had rehearsal that day, so I just kind of like dumped what was in my head and what I was like physically feeling and just came up with some movement and kind of the story that like we were telling just kind of grew from there. And he was somebody that like that really understood me as an artist too. So, was able to ask me questions or give suggestions if I was like saying, "Oh, like I want to do a lift or I want us to have like I want people to like feel, our tension here, or like if we were like at odds with each other throughout the dance or whatever it was. And just kind of that process kind of was the first one where I really felt like, ooh, like okay, like I feel like I was really intentional about telling a story here and really seeing how people receive that piece. It's called The Long Wait. It's on YouTube and I think it's on like my social media and stuff. But it was really crazy to see how people reacted to it because it wasn't like I had a for sure through line on like this is what is happening. It was more like
Just expression.
yeah, yeah. It was more like, oh, it's like two people that are waiting for like literally just sitting in two chairs waiting. Like that was the concept I went off of, and just the story and the different things that people came up with after seeing it was crazy, because I didn't really have a like a this is what the way the story ends or this is what you should see. So different people kind of had different takeaways and what the in the story that they saw.
But that's art.
Mm-hmm.
You go to a movie and it is trajected a thousand different ways. And so, with that being said, you are also adopted
Yes.
into a white family
Yeah, yeah,
as a
yeah.
black man.
Mm-hmm.
How has that kind of informed your work as an artist?
Mm-hmm.
Because you
Yeah.
hear a lot about,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
like
interesting.
it's very
Every time I
interesting.
see white people with black babies, I'm like, no.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
sometimes it's a great thing.
Well, I mean, I think something that it did for me was it really showed me like real like just understanding the origins of stuff. Because for me, it was something where like my birth mother, she actually approached my family, about it and asked them. Yeah, so it's like at that time in 1992, right in Texas, like just social climate very different, right? Very 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 different at that time. time. So, and just my family, they had like done foster care. I have three older sisters that they had that are their biological children. So it was kind of a thing like
White girls.
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah,
I've
yeah.
always wanted to adopt a white girl.
Yeah, so
And raise her to be a strong black woman.
okay, right? Amazing.
There's still time for that.
There is, there is. But yeah, so I mean, and just kind of understanding more about like my family's story and kind of how my birth mother, literally found them and everything. It's given me a lot of like closure around stuff because sometimes when you're growing up and then when like coming into an adult, it's like okay, like how did this happen? Like was this something that was initiated by y'all or
Was
what?
it an agency?
Yeah, yeah,
She
yeah.
knew your family.
So yeah, so she was actually part of a children's home in Waco, Texas, and for some of the girls there, if they got pregnant or something, or if they weren't able to keep their child, the agency would work with them, and like be able to. They were through the Methodist Church as well, so
And
they would,
find a family.
yeah, they would help them find a family. So like I'm been very privileged and fortunate that things turned out that way. I never had to be in the system or anything like that, and just
So you incubating. There was a plan.
oh yeah, before I was born, it was arranged. Like my mother, like she had been talking to them. They had like letters back and forth. It was like they had met her. Like it was a whole process that happened before. So I don't know. For me, I've always felt like the places that I've been, and especially when I started like choreographing and creating more of my work, I always felt like, okay, I've been given a huge privilege and opportunity. Like there are so many people that don't have this, and I can't just like have this be given to me and not do something with it or not speak out about my experiences because a lot of people don't have the privilege and the protection to be able to do that, whether it's about my experience as a black man, as a gay man, as somebody that's adopted, or all the other things that come with my life, so I think that's one of the things that I've been very, very grateful for and kind of feel like it's one of my duties is like, okay, if I've been given opportunities that would not have been even close to what I would have had if my life turned out a different way, I mean, I might as well use it for something. So yeah, that's always been one of the big motivators behind my artistry.
And what does your family think about the life that you're living in LA?
I mean, it gets rough, man.
It's
Yeah, it gets really
did
rough
they have a
'cause
different trajectory for you?
they really never did. They've always been so supportive of what I've wanted to do, right? And they've always been supportive of like who I am, which can get very confusing as you get into the rest of my family. But they've always been very much like if I've said like I wanted to do this, I want to be a dancer, I want to be an actor, I want to go to LA, they're very much like, okay, well good for you. Like awesome, like you should do it. Um, so
So what's the problem?
so it's more for me, I guess it's when it comes into like some of the things that like we believe and the things in the kinds of things that we support that can get really like okay,
Are they
like
right wingers?
extremely they're very much Trump supporters, very much Glenn Beck listening, Rush Limbaugh worshiping, Hillary hating, Obama not liking, want to talk about the emails all the time, think that we have
Oh, they
sleeper
don't know that
cells.
everybody's on the same side
Yeah, like
without getting too political.
it's just a lot of stuff too. So it's like things like that get hard, but it's like at the end of the day, like I know that they love me. I know that they support like me. I guess sometimes what's hard for me is it comes into question like, okay, does this same type of love and support and everything that you all give me extend to others that look like me or that have to go through the same thing I go through, right?
I was
It's
just
like
thinking about that today.
right. It's like, does this only matter?
Because I can like you and hate the rest of your ways.
Exactly.
It's a very much an American thing.
And
It's like I like the blacks that I know.
yeah.
Most of y'all, I don't deal with.
And a lot of times it's like I think it's just because of them not having
Exposure.
exposure to people. I
Yeah.
feel like that would change things if they did. So I really I've done a lot of work to try not to hold that against them because I love them like so much and I know they love me. But
What's your upbringing like? Like, were there any black people in
amazing.
your upbringing? No,
I was the
no.
only black kid in my grade. My brother,
But you're so black. And
right
you're like
now,
Washington,
now I
like,
am.
how did this happen? Like you
I
had
had
like
to
your curation of yourself.
I had to because when I got out here,
Yourself.
I definitely when I was in college, I was definitely saying some crazy things that I will not repeat, being like, I am not black, like I'm not there, I'm not, just because like of how I grew up and everything. It's not
Light skinned.
yeah, so there were a lot of things that I had to learn and not even having like friends that were like black or like multiracial until I came here, so a lot of the stuff that I've been able to do has been and about my identity has been self-taught or been like through dance like like for example, we had a show at Little Washington. We did a dance that was about the desegregation in schools called the Little Rock Nine. I did
I
not,
saw that.
and I did not learn about like the Little Rock. Like we learned about desegregation, but we didn't get like
Any specific
any
stories?
specific story. So when I finally learned there, and I was
And
like,
about that girl that ended up on the bus stop?
yes,
Because
all
she didn't
that.
get the call.
Exactly. It's Elizabeth Actor and learning about all these things and then really realizing like how am I learning more about my history through dance than I did through 18 years of school. Like things like that, were very difficult and very hard because it was like, okay, I have to go and do my own research, teach myself about my people, So but that's also one of the things that I that grew my love for dance and just for the arts in general was I was like, okay, like in a lot of the ways the gaps that I had, in learning about who I was and who my people are, the art has been able to step into
Because you came to the blackest dance company
the black
in Los Angeles.
the longest running black dance company on
What do you
the
think?
West Coast.
And I was so grateful to be there at that. I mean, I just felt like so many of the pieces were just incredible.
It was a great experience.
And your journey is incredible. So tell us about your plan. Where you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Oh my gosh! I love this question.
I'm so glad. I like want at least one question to get.
No, yeah, yeah. No, I love it. Well, one of the things I definitely want to do, I am somebody that is a writer. I've been writing screenplays and stuff, not just about like stories about my life, but just things from people that I feel like have been discarded, by society. So I want to really focus more on my writing and get some of those projects up and going, but also when it comes to dance, like I definitely want to excel more in the company that I'm in. I want to travel more. I just want to do and I feel like, I'm at 34 and I'm getting this urge to want to like train more, like I want to like go and get certified in Horton. I want to learn more about modern style. So I just feel like, even in my yeah, so I'm teaching, I just feel like even in my 30s, like I don't want to get to a place to where I feel like I'm stagnant as an artist. I always want to be learning more. I always want to grow more. So I'm hoping that in 5 years I'll be able to look and see that some of the projects that I have are either done or like coming to like fruition, and that like, of course I would love to be able to turn more and have more extension and all that stuff as a dancer too, but I just want to be able to feel like, okay, like I am on an up trajectory still. I'm not at a stagnant place or, going
On a
down.
downward trajectory.
Feel like I've peaked yet. I wanna keep on going.
Keep on going.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. And we didn't get to talk much about your activism, but you are an activist.
Yes, 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 yes.
In the medical community.
Yeah, yeah. So when I was actually in my last semester of college, I was diagnosed with HIV, and I ended up finishing college and everything. And just as I started to learn more about things around that, I just saw again that there were a lot of people that are from my community, and I didn't that are affected by it, and I didn't understand why I didn't see more people like me talking about it. So again, it was kind of like looking like I had friends, family that were supportive of me when I told them, and it just felt like that was one of the things that actually kind of sparked my artistry as well. When I was like, okay, I'm an artist, I can use my talents to speak about this, and maybe somebody else might feel something, and maybe somebody else can relate. Has been waiting for this, so that was I don't really do a lot of work in that arena anymore, but it was something.
But you made your imprint.
It was very important.
And still have so many people who work because the stigma's gone.
Oh yeah,
people are like, oh, we don't care. Like, give it to us.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
prep. There's this.
There's all types of other things saying on her now.
Stigma's gone.
Mhm.
And so I have to applaud you guys for doing that work. And it was a lot of work.
It was.
Going from thousands and millions of people being lost at the drop of a hat,
Yeah.
and people not knowing what was going on,
Mhm.
to doing all of this activism
Yeah.
work through the
See
80s
stuff
and the
on
90s.
billboards, on magazines and TV shows.
Yes. And now we all know.
Mhm.
And the stigma has been, to my knowledge and to my thoughts, almost eradicated.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a huge thing. And
It's
so I want to
definitely
applaud you
thing.
for your work on that, and you're just your boldness in telling your story
Mhm.
and living your life out loud and pursuing your goals and pursuing your life as a dancer. Let the people know where they can find you.
Yes, yeah. Well, I would say follow me on Instagram at Tommy's a Dancer. That's where I'm able to post a lot of like my dance stuff. You might see some modeling stuff there too. You might see some acting stuff. You might just see me doing silly stuff as well.
Or you might just see his fabulous hair.
You might. I love that. But yeah, I'm also on Facebook. I think yeah, I have some of my work that is also on YouTube. If you look up Thomas Davis. If you look up Thomas Davis dance, like basically any of that will come up. But yeah, those are kind of the platforms I'm mainly on. So they can find me
Awesome.
there.
Well, please find him. And thank you for tuning in with us today. We know it was a light show, but we'll be back next week with more interviews. And we thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Wow.